Welcome everybody to our next edition of Creators One-on-One. My mission is to inspire and to create a community of millions of entrepreneurs that are winning and dominating out there with our print-on-demand products. And today I'm super excited to have one of my buddies, one of my mentors here on the show, Brandon Dawson. Brandon, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you doing this. I know you're a busy guy.
You know what, Victor? I'm doing it because of a variety of reasons. One, I know that your commitment to building those communities is 100% sincere. I know it's 100% going to happen because you're a winner. And I know that you and I are aligned in impacting people's lives personally, professionally, financially, and neither of us actually care what the vehicle is that we need to use to do that. We just care about creating that impact. And in your case, you chose to create this remarkable technology. And for me, it's just working with tens of thousands and eventually millions of business owners, helping them improve their business. So, man, I always love taking time to talk to you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. So, you know, we have a little bit of a outline that we came up with for the show, right? And, you know, one of the important parts, Brandon, is maybe to go a little bit of kind of how we met and, you know, share that a little bit with people so that you know, I always tell people, get around the people that inspire you and you want to be like, pretty much. So maybe we could start there.
Yeah, well, you know, I went to GrowthCon to do a little due diligence in 2019 when I heard this guy, Grant Cardone, was going to bring 35,000 people into a stadium. I thought, I've never, ever heard or seen anything of that magnitude. And I wanted to know if it was real because I had been doing research on hundreds of industries that I could bring my business model to, helping independent business owners grow, scale, and dominate their marketplace, creating unbelievable value for their business. And I was looking for a way to meet more business owners across more sectors. And the research had pointed me to Grant Cardone as the most visible, viable, strategic partner in the social media space because he's a business owner, he's an innovator, he's got his billions of dollars of real estate. His ecosystem is a high-valued, high-trusting ecosystem of people that succeed with him, and that's what the research came back. So my first experience was going to GrowthCon in 2019 in Miami, Florida at Marlins Stadium, and my one question when I went in there was, can I actually meet business owners that when I meet them, they fit the type of people I want to work with, they have the right kind of mindset, and they have the right appetite for success. And I ran into you. You were one of the first people I met. And after meeting you, I said, this is home for me. Now I just need to figure out how to get Grant Cardone's attention.
I know, you know, actually, so we were in the real estate mastermind after the event, right? After the event was like 3 days. And you know what inspired us to hit you guys up is that obviously my wife, that she has like, you know, most of the great ideas. She's like, when you know, when you were up there talking and you kind of broke down a little bit, right? Because you're looking for something impactful, right? You weren't just looking to waste your time. And then she's like, dude, we gotta meet them. We gotta meet those people. So that was like one of the, and of course she's like, let's go, you know, push me to like, you know, get introduced and all that, because you're like already well off, you know what I mean? You weren't just there wasting your time, you know?
Yeah, and as a point in fact, what nobody knew at that time except for Natalie and I, my fiance, is that we were there to do due diligence, to see this ecosystem, to meet people, and to see what Grant Cardone was doing. We were so blown away because I wanted to take my business model to 100 different industries, but I couldn't figure out how to do it at one time. And then meeting Grant and seeing his vision and hearing his authenticity and then hearing the results of the people that work for him, I was just blown away. And, I feel like the universe works for a particular reason, but you got to choose to show up. But when I showed up, saw all the innovation, the risk Grant was willing to take for the reward that he was creating, and then meeting people like you, I was like, I think I even told you, I'm here because I'm going to partner with Grant Cardone.
Yeah, yeah. No,
And you
it's
asked
funny.
me, well, how long have you known him? I said, I don't actually know him. I've never met him.
I don't know him yet. No, and that's one of the things that you actually teach about, like, the visualization, actualization, and actually, like, first sitting back and just visualizing what you want to do, how you want to do it, how you're going to get there. Like, you're actually living it. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you go through that process.
Yeah, 100%. It's something that I've, work on every day. I've been working my mentor that gave me the gift back in 2002. I was playing golf with one of my dearest friends, very, very impactful mentor, Hector Lamarck. And Hector said, Brandon, you have the gift of the ability to create. And I laughed and I said, what do you mean? He said, I know a lot of people, but you have this gift of being able to create. And when you learn to intentionally use that gift and then transfer that to other people, you're going to be remarkable in your life. Like you have the natural gift, now you need to learn. So he taught me this process. So it's visualization. So in our present self, today in our present self, we are a product of all of our experiences of our past self. And also the experiences of those who influence us as we've been raised. So our friends, our family, and all their false and limited beliefs projected onto us. So in our present self, when we're self-talking or we're doing it with the baggage of all these false and limited beliefs through fear, anxiety, stress, failure. And we've created this belief that that's the norm. That's the processing system that we're using in all we do in our present self. And that present self's processing is actually a reactive mind. It's just been taught to think and view the world a certain way and behave a certain way and engage a certain way. And if your thinking is small, it's always looking for reasons to excuse big thinking. If your thinking is broken, it's always looking for reasons to justify why you're a victim and it's not your fault and it's the government or it's your competitor or it's the coworker. So whatever's happening in that present moment, whatever that reactive mind is, when injected in that present moment with either an opportunity or an inspiration or a thought, you stop yourself unconsciously and you go back and say, okay, what are all my filters? Can I do it? Is it real? And if it challenges your comfort level, then you start excusing it and rationalizing it. And you start finding justification to say, this isn't for me, or this won't work for me, or that means this, or that means that, because your present awareness is based on all your past stuff. Well, at that moment, you have to ask yourself, today, if you're honest with yourself, if you say today, right this minute, and this is what I do this all the time. If I go back 5 years or 10 years ago, and I would have said, what were my goals 10 years ago? How did I see myself today? When I was 40, how did I see myself at 50? What would I be doing? Would I have my own airplane? Would I have a 400-foot yacht? Would I have a business that pays me $1 billion a year? Am I doing remarkable things? Am I giving money to charity? Do I have happy, healthy, wonderful employees? Does my family love me and adore me and I get to do anything and everything I want with it? Like, whatever that picture was 10 years ago for where you're at this moment. Now, here's the first thing. A lot of people will say, well, I didn't have that picture. I've been in survival mode. Well, that's a problem, because then you can't then set the stage of where you want to be in 10 years. So you get what you get. But if you did have whatever those goals are, then the honest answer is on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, didn't accomplish any of them. 10, I accomplished all of them. If I'm a 1, I didn't accomplish any of them, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, then I got to ask the honest question. What did I not do? Not what did other people do to me, or what did the government do? It's what did I not do to ensure that I was going to win and get there. The reason you have to go through that exercise is because whatever you set 10 years from now as your new goals, you gotta so visualize it. You write it down, you can taste it, you can smell it, you can see it. Now the visualization is in your present moment, spending 10, 15 minutes every single day experiencing that future picture, just smelling it, tasting it, breathing, as though it's almost happened. And you have to do it every single day, every day. And the more pressure you get applied to you, this is what I do. When I get hit with something, I immediately say, give me 15, 20 minutes, and I go do that visualization. And then I go deal with the thing, because now the thing's not that big of a thing. But the other thing is, if I just react in that moment, I might be causing the conditions, because most of the time people overreact or they make the wrong decisions under pressure. The more you can make decisions that are in tune with your future self's vision of how you conduct yourself, where you're moving to, how people perceive you, then when you go back into that present moment, you will conduct yourself the way that you see yourself in the future. That is an exercise you have to perfect, and you have to be precise about that future picture. And you see that same image. It's like a dream. You see it over and over, and you don't deviate. You can add a little to it, but you don't go, well, I didn't do it, maybe I'll make it less. You just keep doing it, because now I'm conditioning myself in my present moment to be focused on where I'm going, not where I've been. And then you can ask yourself the real questions. Who do I need as mentors? Who's an example to me? Who's been there and done it? How much can I study them? And then I can model, mimic, and master what they did to get there. And then that's what I'm putting my energy on, versus rationalizing, excusing, and justifying all the garbage from my past. That's visualization. Then when you take action, you're actualizing your technical movement towards your future self picture, your ideal scene.
That's amazing. And one of the things that I'm gathering, like, it's super important to, number one, take responsibility for what's happening, right? You take full responsibility for what's going on in your life. And you know, I'll give you a quick example. So we are a manufacturer, right, of a digital printer that people use for print on demand. And this is the thing. We're the only manufacturer right now that's out there that has a CEO in the front, trying to inspire our business owners to win, because all of it's in business, where I could sell a widget, whatever it is, a thing, a machine, whatever. But if I can inspire, like, we have thousands of business owners now that are winning with our machines, some that are not, right? And this is the thing. If you take responsibility first for where you're saying, you have to visualize, like, how you're winning first, right? How you're going to get there, what you're doing, who you're surrounding yourself with, and then repeat it, and then don't deviate. And I always like to summarize it a little bit, Brandon, so that our community, our business owners, they could take it and see how they can apply it to their businesses, right? Because maybe they're not pivoting just yet, right? Maybe they're not doing enough e-commerce. Maybe they're not promoting enough yet, right? But you have to see it first, and then you have to figure out how you're going to achieve it, and then like see it in your head multiple times. And that's super important, because nobody really teaches you as a new business owner what you should be doing right, and all that stuff. So and this was impressive to me, because before you knew what you were going to do, I mean, how long have you been doing Cardone Ventures now?
Well, you and I met in February of 2019. I met Grant there, and then I created the conditions by going in proximity to a place he was on vacation that happened to be where I had a home. So to me, it was the universe telling me it was the right thing to do. So I made the conditions to go there, and then I spent 2 or 3 days, and that's where, with no pressure around us, I strategically picked the right moment. I did it in the right way. I visualized meeting him one day, saying the right things, leaving the right impression, but not too much, not overreaching, just enough to pique his curiosity, then followed up the right way, and then created the conditions for me to be in his proximity. And then we met and spent a little bit of time together. Natalie was Natalie, I've taught her how to do this exact same thing. So she was connecting with Elena, and the four of us were connecting. And then we spent some quality time. And I said, hey, when we met, I told you I had something where we could add a couple billion to both our names. And I wanted to kind of spend half hour to walk you through it. And he said, yeah, dude, tell me what your thought is. And I explained to him what I've been working on and what I've done and what my intention is. And I had it succinct, and I was able to articulate it in 8 to 12 minutes. And I said, here's the work I did to see if you fit in. And then you overbeat my expectations. So I complimented him. And he looked at me and he said, dude, I've wanted to do this my whole life. I just didn't know how to do it. So he said, if you and I could do this together, I'm all in. But I need you to show up to my ecosystem. I need you to present it, and I need them to vote on it. Like, do my clients really want this? And so April of 2019, I presented to a room of 500 people that came from GrowthCon to boot camp. And a whole series of business owners came out of that. And we've parlayed that into now, we've built a business that will do 15 to 20 million in its first year. And we'll be 30 to 40 million next year, and we'll be 100 million in 3 years. And we've already executed across all the strategies I showed him. We now have clients across all that already. And my team's gone from Natalie and I. We had 9 people when COVID hit. We're at 35 experts right now, and we'll be at probably 50 by the end of the year. And next year, I'll have 100 team members executing on behalf of these business owners.
The one of the things that really made me really connect to you is that you actually had visualized what you were going to do beforehand, right? I don't know if you remember, but you had an Audigy event that I went to.
Yeah, the company I ran, yeah.
And it was actually before you had executed, right? And you had told me, hey, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Like you had it, then we went to dinner. But some of the methodologies that you had already used to scale your previous business to be able to sell it for 150 million, you actually wanted to expand that. You had told me, you had visualized it. And one of the biggest things, you don't know what's going to give you a big impact, right? But I don't know if you remember, you do a lot of role play, and nobody wanted to step up and do role play at some of the times. But then your 13-year-old daughter at the time, she went up there, and she totally blew me away. How articulate, how like she was just like on point, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like. This is not only that I already like you, but then, hearing Sierra kind of like, sounds so smart at 13. I'm like, dude, like I could learn a lot from this guy. And that was like, you're saying what a catalyst can be. That was super impressive. It really kind of made me connect to you and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do something with this guy.
I forgot about that. So after GrowthCon, because you lived in the area where I was running that meeting, and it was an owner's meeting, I had 250 of my clients there. And now I remember you came, I said, just come check out what we're doing, because I'm going to build 100 of these industries. And you could see it for yourself. And you came in, met some of my owners, watched the training I was doing. And they were all independent business owners that were part of my business I created, helping them build their businesses. And then we were introducing a new program, and they were nervous to come up and role play. And these are people that had multi-million-dollar businesses. To show them how easy it was, I had my daughter come up, do the role play with me in front of them all, and then they all were willing to come up. So a 13-year-old had to be the example to sophisticated business owners, but they were afraid to look dumb and or make a mistake. And that was my whole point to them, is that if you can't do this and if you're afraid to make a mistake, then how are you going to train your people? Because they're dependent on you leading them. And you said afterwards, I forgot, we went to dinner and you were like, dude, that was like one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. And that's at dinner where I shared with you, I'm going to do 100 of these industries. I've already mapped them out. I already know what I'm looking for. And then we had already met at GrowthCon. And I told you, I'm going to take this whole platform that I've built over the last 15 years. I spent 50 million doing it, never borrowed a dime, never raised a dime, never used anybody else's money. None of my clients barely paid me because I figured out a way to monetize the system using my own equity structure. And I laid it out for you at dinner. And I said, I'm going to partner with Grant Cardone and I'm going to bring this to 100 different industries. And you said to me, well, I remember at dinner, you said, my CFO was there too, and Natalie and you and your wife. And you said to me, well, what does Grant think about this? And I said, he doesn't know yet. I've never showed him or talked to him about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say one of the number one witnesses of how you visualize this thing and you actually went through with it and are achieving it, right? But you hadn't even started it. You hadn't even pitched it yet, but you already knew what you were going to do. And the reason why we're talking about this, guys, is you know, for our business owners out there, Brandon, typically, you know, to start interacting with us and buy a machine package somewhere around $25,000, right? And that gives them everything that they need to start a business. But the machine can't actualize, can't visualize, it can't do the steps to grow and scale your business and to promote, you know. So one of the main things that I want to do is really help people understand that the start of something is you have to look at it, visualize it, plan it, and start executing something, right? What kind of advice would you have for our business owners out there that are, you know, getting equipment, you know, maybe they're doing $1 million, 3 million, 5 million, or they're just a startup? I mean, what kind of advice would you have for them to start looking at how they're going to grow and scale their business beyond just buying an equipment, you know?
You know, it's a great question, Victor. What's funny is I'll bet you most of the people you're talking to ask you, well, how much is it? Oh, 25,000. 25,000, and then how much more? Oh, 40,000. Oh, to start a business, 50,000. Oh my gosh, 50,000. Oh, that's a lot of money. Oh, 50,000. And this is how most people think. And the problem with that thinking is it's so small, because really what you should be saying is, I have a $5 million opportunity, and it only costs me 50,000 to make it happen. So what happens is people tend to talk about the problem. They do not focus on what solution they're solving that creates the opportunity. So you either have a problem or you have an opportunity. So if you have an opportunity or you have a problem, everyone wants to talk about the problem. And I know that because when I say to business owners, look, if you did these 3 things, you could double in size. The first thing out of their mouth is always, well, the problem is I tried that. The problem is I can't get somebody to help me. The problem is I can't afford the 25,000. The problem is I don't know how to do it. The problem is I don't know if people will pay me for it. The problem is, it's like, why are you talking about problems? Why aren't you saying how? When? Where? Who? The first thing out of somebody's mouth when you say, hey, this is a $5 million opportunity, and how your team is presenting it may be the issue too. So when I talk to somebody, like the reason I was able to make all those technical movements and then connect with Grant is because I was able to make my presentation to Grant so simple that I could do it in 12 minutes in a hot tub. I didn't need visuals. I didn't need a bunch of data. I just needed to communicate it in a way where he could see the picture. And so if I was selling this system, I would say, You know, Victor, based on the data, the zip code that you live in right now, along with the corresponding 5 zip codes around it, the data states that you can have a $7.4 million business earning you $2.3 million a year for something as simple as a $50,000 to $75,000 investment. See how versus for $75,000, you can go out and create a business.
And so the idea, guys, is you guys have to think about what the potential is of what you could be earning, what impact you could be making to your life, your family's life, with whatever business endeavor that you end up choosing as your vehicle, right? So what Brandon is saying is make sure that you're focused on what you're solving and what you're getting and how you can push through versus what the problem is, you know? That's super important because a lot of people focus too much on what the problem is.
If you visualize showing up to work every day, working with clients that love what we do, working with team members that love what we do, having a line of clients at the door that come from the local businesses that want to brand their business or brand their mission or do shirts for the school or do clothing for their whatever their mission is or their church or some program they're doing or for Christmas or for a holiday or for Thanksgiving, turkeys on shirts and for the whole church. Whatever you're visualizing in your mind, see what happens is I don't even know your business and now I'm coming up with ideas like, oh, I just had this customer come in that purchased 1,000 shirts for all their clients for a mailing event that they're doing. They want to send a shirt to every one of them saying, we're going to help you win, and with the name of their company on it. Oh, that'd be so cool. Or they're going to order 10,000 of them. And all of a sudden now I'm visualizing all this activity. I'm seeing them write a check for 10 grand or 50 grand. I'm seeing them pull the shirt out and look at it and love it and want to order another one for Thanksgiving and one for New Year's, and maybe one for something in the spring. And all of a sudden I'm feeling it. And I love my clients. They love spending money with me. My team is in there. I'm hiring these kids that wouldn't have jobs otherwise. They love working with me. See what I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm looking at my monthly financial statement. I can't believe it. I just did $280,000 of revenue and I made $75,000. I mean, I've never made $75,000. I wonder if I could do better next month. I'm going to visualize this. Now, your job is to give them the examples of the people that are doing it. You know what I love about you is that's what you're doing with your show. You're saying, no, it isn't possible. It isn't possible. It is happening.
It is happening.
So it's not a possibility. It's a guarantee. And so now all you need to do is see yourself in this picture. And now all of a sudden, if I see myself making $75,000, $100,000, $150,000, I have these clients that love me. I have friends all over town wearing these shirts and wearing the masks and wearing whatever I'm printing. And all of a sudden, everybody knows me. Now the new mayor just swung by. The mayor wants me to print all the signs and all the shirts and all the posters and all the pictures. And now the mayor's shooting an Instagram post saying, I'm the one that got him elected. Oh my gosh, I see that. Now, when I visualize that, as soon as I'm done visualizing it, I take a pen out and a pad and I write down everything I visualized. Mayor, churches coming in, people with big businesses wanting to ship it to their customers, seasonality contracts. Everything I visualized, I write down. Why is that? Because now I can go, I wonder where all those things are in my town. And I put a plan to go start meeting people and talking to them and finding those things I'm visualizing about. And then all of a sudden I get a contract. I'm like, I cannot believe it. I thought it. I did a little homework on it, and it happened. I wonder what bigger things I should be thinking about. This is the process of visualizing to actualizing, and why you and I aligned, why we're having this conversation, because emotionally and vibrationally, the language we were using when we met was almost exactly the same. Finding amazing people, helping them create financial freedom, doing something they love to do, teaching other people to do it with them, adding value to other people's lives. Our language is exactly the same. How we're doing it's different, but it doesn't matter how you do it. And so we immediately bonded, became friends, and now we're deep looking at your business together. We're going to be business partners. And I know for a fact, I told you that when I met you. I said, one day we're going to be business partners. I think I told you that in the first, maybe even at that dinner. I said, people like you are who I'm going to partner with. And I guarantee you, one day you and I'll be partners. And you laughed. And we're what, a month or two away from being partners. And you know what? You know why I know this is going to be massive? Because I know where your heart is. I know where your commitment is. I know how innovative you've been. I know how unique your value proposition is. I know how dedicated you are to it. I know how committed you are to it. And I know how inspired you are to do everything that you've said, because that is what your picture is. And see how easy it was. Now, we didn't know it'd take 18 months later before we partnered. Who knows? It could take another 5 years. Who cares? We know we're vibrationally moving in a direction together. And here's what I know. We're going to go out and create a system where tens of thousands of people are going to learn to be business owners. You're going to teach them exactly how to build the business. I'm going to teach you exactly what I know and give you the scale and leverage. And we're going to go present this to the world. And the only question I have for people watching your show is, why wait? You can do it now. You're doing it for people. You have real data. You have real stories. You have remarkable examples of people who chose to move forward, didn't think small. Kids that are doing $1 million, $1.5 million in revenue. Kids, children. So if they can do it, which was my example with Sierra, to all those big business owners. And so here's what I'm going to tell you too. I talked to my daughter in Bend, Oregon. I'm going to buy 2 of your machines. I'm going to put them in Bend, and we're going to start. I'm going to show her and teach her, because this is how remarkable what you're doing is. I'm going to teach her how to build a business and provide for her family.
I love it. I love it. You know, one of the reasons why I obviously I shared my mission, right, to build a huge community of entrepreneurs that are winning. But one of the reasons why, you know, I started this show, and you know, I think we're like 16, 17 episodes in, that I want to actually show people in different areas that they could also do it too, right? So I've had people on here like you know, 18-year-old that is winning. You know, a mom of 2 that her second month she was making over 30 grand, right, in sales off of you know, Etsy and her shirts, right? You know, a operations manager that decided they're gonna do their own business at home, you know, and just countless stories like that of people starting, but also people in the middle, right? People that are scaling, that are doing 3-5 million bucks already with print on demand, right? And I've been telling people, hey, have an e-commerce presence. Look at what these winners are doing. I wanted to show people what the actual winners that are actually doing something, what they're doing, right? They're promoting, right? They have a process in place to sell their product. They're out there, right? And one of the things I really loved is, all right, so how can I make sure, versus just being a manufacturer, I'm inspiring people to build businesses, take control of their income, take control of their family's income and their life. And some of the stuff that I'm learning from you, just from being around you, is helping me inspire people, right? And it's helping me actually technically show them where they could win, right? So you technically show people, hey, you know what? Align your people. Are you promoting? How's your team? Like these things that we don't really think about. We're just like hustle, 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 hustle. But we don't put the pieces in place to scale, you know? And I want to bring that to our community. I want to show them that they can actually scale a business, be big, regardless of what they're buying, right? And that was super inspiring. What I could be learning just by being around you and seeing what you did is helping me bring that to my audience, you know?
And that's what I'm doing. I partner with Grant Cardone, and everything he's teaching me. I mean, as you know, we just had an event, a virtual event with 6,800 people over 3 days at 8 hours or 10 hours a day, bringing value to them. So the easiest way to succeed in life is model, mimic, and master what somebody else that already succeeds is doing. And what I love about you is that's the differentiator. You're a disruptor in this space because your competitors want to sell in the masses. You want to sell one relationship at a time and teach them how to become independent, teach them how to succeed, and teach them how to create an impact doing something they can love doing. And so you're looking at the life, you're not looking at the volume. And I think,
I gotta tell you, Brandon, this is the thing. We're dominating in our own way with brands that have been around for 100 years, right? They're sleeping. They're still trying to figure out like what they're gonna do with social media, right? They're still trying to figure out what's cool to post and not. In the meantime, we're fucking hammering, right? We're hammering. I'm in front in every platform, inspiring people. They're still trying to figure out what they're gonna do now that trade shows are gone, because that's what they had before to leverage, right? We've already done like some big web events, right? So for us, like we already got product of the year 5 years in a row.
I know, dude, you're crushing it.
It's crazy, and it's because these people out there are winning. The technology that we're creating, all that stuff is cool, but how can we help people put their foot on the gas, keep growing? And that's what like the mission is right now that I have, because a lot of these guys possibly gave us their last 25 grand that they had in savings, right? So I want to make sure that those people make money.
But they need to follow the process. They own that. But here's my commitment to you, brother, because I have a people first. Business is business. It's a people first agenda. If you take care of that, everything else follows, right? Solve problems. The bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. People first agenda. You'll crush it every time. That's what I love about you, because you are concerned about the one person making money and taking control of their life. So here's the deal. When we're done platforming your business, and I present to you a partnership opportunity, we'll take my business building concepts and we'll customize them that if you sign up for an OmniPrint program, we will give those programs to people who commit to be an OmniPrint business. And we'll create not only the what that creates the business, but we will dial it into what, how, who, why, and when. We'll just make it so no one can fail unless they just don't apply themselves. And then here's what we're going to do. Then we're going to present it to our Cardone ecosystem. Any human being that has $25,000 to $50,000 that wants to have a proven business system that will make them $1 million a year, that will generate $1 million in revenue and earn them. What if I'm doing $1 million a year in revenue and I own, how many of these printers do I need?
About 2.
Okay, so 2 printers. So I'm into the equipment for 50 grand plus say another 50 to get things set up. So $100,000. If I'm doing $1 million a year, how much do I earn?
Your margin is about 60% easy.
So I'm earning $500,000 bucks, and I'm able to run it on your Shopify infrastructure and I don't even need to learn how to collect money. It'll all happen through our process.
Yep. And you could run it from home. You could run it in a small shop. In the size of this studio, you could run it. So it's compelling. You could run it with your kids running around. You could run it in a shop. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And we will teach. We will go and we will get 2,000 or 3,000 people. And I'll even probably find. We just launched at this event. We found a lender who's willing to extend $20,000 of credit to business owners. So if you had a house, yeah, so people can get financing for this stuff too. So we will make it so simple because you and I believe fundamentally in something. True leadership is making other people's success easy. If you figure out how to do that, there's no way anybody loses, and that's what we're going to bring. And what my job is to find people like you, forward-thinking thought leaders, innovators, disruptors that have the right intentions, and bring that to people that don't know it exists, and then teach them how to win in their micro market so that they can create the living that they want to create the easiest, most impactful way possible by bringing value into their communities. And you and I agree 1,000% on that, and we're going to do it bigger than anyone. You want to know what visualization and actualization looks like? We're going to have 10,000 people globally on this platform crushing it. And mark my words, you'll run an event and you'll get 5,000 to 10,000 people coming to that event because they're thrilled to be part of something that they're able to do in their community, that they're winning with, they're making money with, they're employing people with, and they're loving and taking care of their families with, and they just need to know it's available and exactly how to execute, and there'll be zero hesitation for people to move forward. And that's what you and I are going to build together with Grant Cardone.
I love it. I love it. Dude, that's a great thing. We offer people the way to do it, right? But if we can give them the courses and give them the techniques and the technical way of them continuing to win, how to promote, how to properly do it, how to build your team, how to make sure you're doing proper marketing, all that stuff is super important. I know I'm going to give them a good machine. I know I'm going to give them a good product, right? Now I want to put my foot on the gas on helping people how to grow their business financially, and that will keep them aligned with the brand forever.
Yep, and as we're platforming you, I'll be reverse engineering my concepts into that program for our clients.
I love it. I mean, for me, I got into the ecosystem, right, of 10X and Grant Cardone probably in 2015, right? And I'm probably doing, 10X as much revenue than I was at that time. I also learned, what to do with the money, how to invest it. I mean, I'm having different problems and different conversations now that are bigger than I had before, and that's because of the ecosystem. So aligning yourself with a program, an ecosystem that can help you grow is super imperative. Like what can you tell people that have hesitations about, like, actually, they attend events or they go and they get a course and they're at the same spot? Like, what are they missing?
It's that past self. They're missing all the garbage of their past self. Their low belief will always create low results. So what happens is, in your present self, you make a decision because you want to do something different consciously. Like, I want to change. I want to lose weight. I want to be healthier. I want to make more money. I want a different career. So you take action. And then as soon as you take action, your past self behavior, belief structures catch up to you because you're not thinking of where you're moving to. You don't have that clear picture. You don't see yourself 30 or 40 pounds lighter. You don't see yourself running faster and being healthier and being more fit. You don't see yourself with a checking account with millions of dollars in it, doing whatever you want to do. You don't see that because that's not your present self. So you're bogged down with your present self and how heavy all that is because it's so far away. I just have to get through this thing right now, and everything's heavy, everything's hard. And so The lower your belief, the lower you achieve. So the higher you believe, the higher you achieve, because you're pressing into those increments, and they're hard, but it's moving into those increments that allow you. And the only way you can stay active in remembering, oh, maybe I shouldn't have that drink tonight. Oh, maybe I shouldn't eat a burger versus a salad. Oh, maybe I shouldn't skip that workout. Oh, maybe I shouldn't make this decision, is having such a strong visualization of what that future picture is, that you're so committed to it because it will change your life, that you stick with it. No one's going to do that for you. You have to own that yourself. And it's just so easy to slip in and out of conscious engagement and passive activities. And when you're not consciously, actively engaged with the direction you're going, then you move to what's called drifting. And you kind of go wherever you go, and sometimes it feels good, sometimes it doesn't, but it is definitely not going to take you to where you're intentionally going. Drifting just moves you around, and now you're susceptible to influences, NIOP, negative influence of other people, giving you and projecting on you and telling you why that was a dumb idea anyway. No one else, why would you even think that? I knew you weren't going to do it. I just let you run with it because, I didn't want you to feel bad. And yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't have been thinking that big. Maybe I'll lower my standards. Maybe I'll lower my beliefs. That's why people run into problems. They're not committed. Where you find struggle, you definitely find a lack of commitment.
One of the things that you talk about, Brandon, is being intentional with what you're doing, right? Being intentional with your direction. And so you're telling people, hey, you know what? Once you visualize, you have to make sure that you're being intentional with your direction and making sure that you're committed and disciplined in taking those actions, those specific micro actions every single day that can get you to your goal.
And you know what, Victor? When someone starts doing that, they start actualizing what they visualized, their confidence goes through the roof. It's just like, look, I told you what I was going to do. You watched me do it. Do I have credibility with you?
Big time.
So all somebody needs to have credibility is to have the courage to tell somebody, this is what I'm going to do, and then go make it happen. Now, do you think that my courage as to the kind of things I can do is higher or lower when I go out and I state, this is what I'm going to do, and then I do it? Do I increase 10x what maybe I was thinking too low?
And that's one of the things recently where I'm like, I was even telling Sergio over the weekend, hey, you know what? Our goals need to be more massive, right? We can have a bigger think, and we're not gonna focus on the little stuff that's getting us there. We have to focus on that big, massive goal, and then we'll do the things to achieve it step by step, right?
Yeah.
And I'm fully committed to doing that stuff. I'm fully committed to our next big ass web event. While the competitors are still trying to figure out what technology to use, I've already been doing it. I'm gonna have big people on here like Damon John and those people to inspire people. I haven't booked them yet. I haven't got them yet, but I'm gonna. And those are the things that I'm thinking of. Like, hey, that's how I can that's how I can inspire people to do big things. My intentional. Or I would say my intention with you is to build a friendship, bring you value, help you grow with whatever you're doing, because I know that in return, I'm going to get the same thing. My lids are going to grow. I'm going to start thinking, hey, you know what? Brandon just got a badass jet. That's what I want to do. He's scaling his business. That's what I want to do, right? So if I can bring you some value, the value that I get in return, just on my mentality, will be like 10x of where I was.
And all you and I need to do is transfer that to other people, and then give them something that we know works, so that they have they don't need to worry about if it works or not. They just need to execute against the plan, and then we'll go out and conquer. And the reason you and I'll become partners is because we freaking love doing it together, and we don't have, like, the reason partnerships don't work out is people come together with this agenda or intention, and then as they're moving towards it, they have conflicting agendas or conflicting intention. Well, the thing I love about what I do is I develop such a deep relationship with people I'm partnering with no pressure to have to partner. You and I never have to partner. We can be friends and build business together. We can do it all sorts, but we're going to want to partner together because we're going to want to have fun together. We're going to want to go on the airplane together. That's why I partner with Grant. I give half my business concept and ideas and everything I built to Grant because I wanted the half that I needed and wanted from him. And now we're heading to St. Bart's for a week, just he, Elena, Natalie, and I, just to set our postulates. Those are our big picture, our big visions together. Whereas it used to be Natalie and I and Grant and Elena. Now we're going and doing it together. What kind of horsepower can we create when we're setting our postulates together? What kind of horsepower can we create when all of a sudden you and your wife are there? What happens when it's not 2 people and it's not 4 people, but it's 12 or 18 or 16 or 32, and we're all intersynced with the best of every single thing we have to offer each other, and we're fortified in the direction we're moving? Who's going to lose there? Everybody wins, and it's more fun. Winning with friends is much more fun than winning by yourself.
That's amazing. Yeah, and that's the part of like being around people that are doing it, that are positive in that same direction, because your circle of influence is super important. You don't want to be with your downer friends. You want to be with people that are doing it big, and that's one of the reasons why, I gravitated to you guys. One thing that's important for me to discuss a little bit, Brandon, so that people can kind of get an idea, right? You talk about the size of businesses, right? And you talk about their breakpoints at different, at different times in their business, right? And a lot of people think that everything's super unique in how they do it, what their business is. And maybe you can explain to people a little bit about, where they're going to have some breakpoints that everybody has. That's one thing that helped me navigate COVID, navigate our different breakpoints, because I'm listening to you say, hey, you know what? You're gonna have a break point at this time. So when it comes, you're not surprised, right? So maybe you could tell people that they're starting, where they're gonna be at and how to navigate those certain things.
Yeah, so all businesses have natural stress points. And what we've done is the research to look at hundreds of industries, hundreds of verticals to understand across all those businesses where those stress points are. And they are basically from startup to 3 million in revenue. And once you get to 3 million, there's stress points. And the stress points now become different than what got you to 3 million. And then it's 3 to 8 million, and then 8 to 15 million, and then 15 to 25 million, 25 to 45, 45 to 75. And the 0 to 3 is whatever you're doing. Does it work? And the more you can press that up to closer to the 3 million mark, doing it basically by yourself, the more capacity you create in your business. Then to go from 3 to 8 million, you got to start adding people. So now it goes from me leadership skills. You got to have we leadership skills. Like you can't just throw people at problems. Like you got to hire the right people. I mean, what happens, and if you look at the stats, out of 31.5 million small businesses in the United States, 25 million of them have one employee, which is the founder. So that just goes to show you that 0 to 3 million is where everybody gets stuck. There's 5 million businesses that have between 2 and 15 employees. And there's only 600,000 that have over 15. So you can see where the next thing is where people get stuck. It's bringing people in. And the reason they get stuck is they go out and hire people, but they don't know how to hire the right people. They don't know how to align the people with the business. They don't know how to get the most out of their people. So they hire enough to solve problems, but not enough to actually build a business. So that'll usually take a business between 3 and 8 million. And that's where a majority of businesses, small to mid-sized businesses, get stuck. 1 million to 8 million, and they sit. And we've studied it.
The growth becomes stagnant at that point.
And their costs just keep creeping up because they don't understand the technical aspect of what's coming next. So from 8 to 15 million, it's around the processes that they've created with the employees they brought in that helped them go from 2 or 3 to 8 million. And those employees become leadership that can then teach other employees so they can go from 8 to 15 million. If they don't know how to do that, they're going to get stuck. And then what happens as their costs go up, they become key man dependent on a certain number of personalities in the business. And after a while, when those personalities see that the business isn't growing, now there's frustration, those people leave, and now the business falls back down to 2 or 3 or 4 million and everything becomes hard. And that business owner's belief just gets crushed about what can be done. What I'm here to tell everybody listening to this is there's another choice. And the choice is to learn how to build a business to 3 million, to 8 million, to 15 million, to 25 million, to 45 million, to 75 million. Know what those indicators are. Know exactly technically what you need to have in place. Learn how to build the elements or work with us and you to put those elements in place, and just bypass all the failure and ignore all the people that don't know what they're doing and go straight to success, which is the whole premise in our 10X mentality here that Grant Cardone has established as a cultural, operational, and financial goal, is to 10X everything in your life. And you and I buy into it 100%. We're doing it ourselves, and we want to give that gift to everybody else.
I love it. I love it. And that's super important. So guys, if you think that your challenges are unique, your problems are unique. Oh, I need better people. Oh, I don't have enough funding. Oh, everybody thinks that their problems are unique. The reality is, and I've seen it firsthand because I've implemented these things in our business. Your problems are not unique. They pretty much, there's research and there's science that, Brandon and his team have done to understand many businesses. And if you learn how to identify these things and apply some of these techniques, then you're not going to be, concerned about what the next breakpoint is. When mine came, when the latest one came, mid-COVID, I knew exactly what to do. I realized it. I had seen it. I had trained on it, and I was able to execute past it. Right. So now I'm still training. I'm always training, investing, and I've invested over $500,000 this year already in my personal and professional training. Right. That's because I need to know what's next, what's coming. I need to get myself around. I need to understand that my issues are not unique. They've been documented before, and there's other people that have already done it, right? So Brandon talks about model, mimic, and master. That means that there's other people that you could be modeling, the other people that you could be mimicking and mastering once you learn how to do these things. So that's super important. And Brandon, I know you're a busy guy. I don't know how much time you got, but I could speak with you for hours. And I just want to summarize it a little bit for our people, if you don't mind. Some of the main things that we discussed here. Visualizing, right? It's super important. You need to also actualize, means, once you visualize something, write everything down and take action. Be intentional with what you're doing, right? Get around the right people that are already doing it, and think about how you can be doing it, what the positive, what's the impact that you're getting from whatever you're doing. Align yourself, align your team, and then structurally, technically, get the programs, get the training that can help you learn these steps, these breakpoints to push through to the next level. So super impactful, Brandon.
Awesome. You articulated that flawlessly. It's a great summary. This is going to be one of the best podcasts either one of us have done, because we've actually experienced the reality of what we're talking about together. Our relationship is 100% evidence. And as soon as one day we sign those partnership agreements and we go do exactly what we talked about, because here's the thing, we obligated ourselves by disclosing, just like a year and a half ago when you came to the Audigy meeting, we just said we're going to have 10,000 people that we're going to be changing and impacting their lives. And when people watch this show in 5 years and we have 10,000 people, they're still going to say we were lucky.
Yep.
But we're going to say on the record, go back and watch this podcast. It was 100% intentional. And they're going to say, well, how did you do it? And we're going to say, pay attention to exactly what we talked about in the podcast. And that's exactly how it happened. And it will be exactly how it happened.
So if you check out this shirt, Brandon, that I made up, it says executing billionaire
moves. I love it, dude.
So it's something that, you know, I have a whole, you know, I write a whole bunch of stuff down. I put it down in my notes as some sayings that I want to create, some stuff to say, hey, you know what, this is what I'm doing, right? I'm executing billionaire moves. I'm actually going to make one for you that says, you know, what you think is what you become, right? Because you say, you know, I'll tell people what your motto is.
What you think is what you talk about. It's what you say.
Yep.
What you spend your time talking about, you're programming your mind, so it's what you end up doing. So what you think is what you say is what you do. And then you go through your life doing, it's what you're known for. It's your legacy. So what you think is what you say is what you do becomes your legacy. So if you're not visualizing and you're not actualizing to the future self ideal scene, then you'll become what you're spending your time talking about. All you have to do to know why people are stuck is listen to them.
That's right. So what you do becomes your legacy, guys. Remember that. And what you think becomes your legacy, more importantly, because those thoughts are what leading you to those actions, right? To all that stuff. So I really love that stuff.
You know, Victor, I love you, dude. I love you. This is a great show. I can't wait for you to put this out, and I'm going to throw it out everywhere. And we're going to make Grant watch it. He doesn't even know this story. It's amazing. And I can't wait to be your business partner, dude, honestly.
I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, especially after such a huge event yesterday, all over the weekend. I really value you guys. I love you, brother. Thank you so much for being here. And that is a wrap.
Awesome.